To our amazing audience at Midnight Tales Radio, welcome and thank you for being here. Your presence is what makes these stories worth sharing. We'd love to know which part of the world you're joining us from today. And now, let's dive into today's story. Rainy Night, the 13th Delivery. Chapter 1. The Never-Ending Order. Raindrops hammered against the worn raincoat like countless icy fingers jabbing. Limo gasped for breath as his e-bike tires sliced through murky puddles. The cold, electronic voice from his phone's navigation echoed inside his helmet, repeating the address he'd heard 12 times. You have arrived near your destination. Time-worn apartments, Unit 4, Room 404. Again, same place. Same time, 1:13 a.m. Same damn order of sweet and sour spare ribs, with the note, must deliver to 404 door. Leave outside. Do not knock. Limo slammed the brakes. The bike skidded on the slick road before lurching to a stop in front of the time-worn apartments, a decaying building choked with dead vines, seemingly forgotten by the city. A sickly yellow streetlight, fractured by the downpour, barely illuminated the entrance. The rusted iron security door hung slightly ajar, like a silent, dangerous mouth. The first time he'd delivered this order, he'd just found the place creepy. The second time, as he turned away after leaving the food, he heard a short, piercing shriek from inside 404, followed by the dull thud of something heavy falling. He'd fled in panic, only to be hit by an out-of-control truck at the next intersection. Waking up, he jolted upright in his rented studio bed. The time was 11:50 p.m. the previous night, and that damn order notification popped up on his phone again. Third time, he tried rejecting the order. Got hit by falling debris while waiting at a red light. Fourth time, he called the police. The phone exploded as soon as the call connected. Fifth time, he tried delivering other orders instead. His e-bike mysteriously lost control and plunged into a river. Every death triggered a reset at exactly 11:50 p.m. the previous night. Every reset, this sweet and sour spare ribs order from time-worn apartments, 404 appeared in his queue like a festering parasite. He was an insect trapped in sticky amber, pinned to this rainy midnight loop. The 12th time, he snapped. He charged into 404, demanding answers, wanting to see what horror lurked inside. He barely touched the door when it silently swung open a crack. Impenetrable darkness within. A thick stench of blood mixed with a sickly sweet rot assaulted him. A cold, slimy, wrinkled hand shot out from the gap and seized his wrist. His last memories were the agonizing crunch of bone and the despair of falling into infinite darkness. Now. The 13th time. Limo ripped off his helmet. Rain instantly drenched his hair. He wiped his face. The fear in his eyes was replaced by a desperate, ferocious resolve. He couldn't die. He couldn't stay trapped here forever. This time, he had to do something different. Chapter 2. Eyes in the crack and the bloody recording. The stairwell reeked of damp mold and dust. The motion sensor lights were dead. Only his phone screen's weak glow illuminated peeling paint and piled junk underfoot. Each step creaked on the decaying floorboards. The higher he climbed, the clearer the faint, coppery scent of blood became. Room 404's door was shut tight, just like in his memories. The peephole was a bottomless black void. Limo's heart hammered against his ribs. He forced himself to stay calm. Following the instructions, he gently placed the food on the cold tile floor outside the door. He moved deliberately slowly, fingers trembling slightly, pretending to accidentally tip the bag so it leaned towards the peephole. The tiny camera lens was angled towards the door's interior. Just as he straightened up, preparing to back away quickly like before. Click, an incredibly soft sound. The lock turning from inside. Limo's blood froze. In the previous 12 attempts, the door only opened when he knocked or lingered too long. This time, he was just leaving it. He snapped his head up. The door had opened. Silently, wider than the 12th time. Beyond the gap lay an impenetrable darkness. But within that void, Limo felt something move. Not a reaching hand, but an eye. A bloodshot eye with a milky, clouded pupil, filled with unspeakable malice and a flicker of curiosity. Staring straight at him through the crack. Limo nearly screamed, terror shredding his soul. He stumbled back, slamming hard against the cold wall. He couldn't look. He spun around and sprinted towards the stairs with every ounce of strength. His footsteps pounded like war drums in the deathly silent hallway. He flew down the stairs, burst through the security door, and threw himself onto his bike. Rain lashed him, the cold shock offering a sliver of clarity. He fumbled onto the seat, twisted the throttle, and the bike shot into the downpour like an arrow. He didn't look back. He sped straight to the nearest 24-hour convenience store. The bright lights and the confused clerk's gaze offered a fragile illusion of safety. Soaked and shivering, he leaned against the cold glass window, gasping for breath. Then, with trembling hands, he pulled out another phone and opened the app connected to the button camera. The screen lit up. Connection successful. Recording function active. Limo swallowed hard and tapped playback. The image was dark, grainy, the perspective low. He could only make out a blurry patch of floor and the bottom edge of a door frame. The audio was full of static, but subtle movements were audible. A few seconds later, the image wobbled. Someone inside had picked up the bag. Then, a low, raspy voice, like sandpaper grating on a throat, spoke. It was fragmented, dripping with a horrifying satisfaction. Sweet and sour spare ribs. The 13th, one finally, one with eyes. Limo's breath stopped. It understood. It knew he was recording. At that moment, a hand appeared in the frame. A hand wearing a rubber glove smeared with dark red stains. This hand didn't reach for the food. It went straight for the camera lens. Limo's heart plummeted. But the hand didn't take the camera immediately. The screen stayed black. Yet the audio became clearer. Beyond the raspy chuckle, Limo heard other sounds. One, dragging something heavy. A dull scraping sound, punctuated by a slow, thick asterisk drip, drip, asterisk audible through the camera. The dripping sounded viscous. 2. A muffled whimper, the terrified, agonized sound of someone gagged. Extremely faint, but close. 3. Asterisk, a sharp, rolling tink. Tink, tink. Like marbles dropping on a wooden floor. More than one. The sound seemed to come from deeper inside the room. Hey, curiosity, killed the cat. The raspy voice returned, thick with mockery and cruelty. We'll kill the delivery rat. The voice was very close to the mic, like a whisper in the ear. Then, the feed cut out completely. The app display device offline. Limo clutched the phone, plunged into icy despair, teeth chattering uncontrollably. The 13th time, he thought he'd found a way out, only to expose himself deeper to that thing. That whimper, that dripping sound, and the marbles. What was happening inside 404? Fear threatened to drown him, but survival instinct and the rage from 12 deaths exploded. Run? He couldn't outrun it. Death just meant reset. His only way out was inside that damned room. He had to know the truth. Chapter 3. The Twisted End and a New Beginning. The convenience store lights now felt harsh and fake. Limo took a deep breath. The cold air laced with rain and something metallic filling his lungs, forcing down nausea and the tremors in his limbs. Run? Reset. No. He was done. He would step into the vortex himself. He checked his phone. 1:45 a.m. Still some time before his usual death or reset point. Maybe that was key. He needed answers before then. Limo didn't go home. He turned his bike towards the nearest police station. This time, it wasn't just to report it. He needed a witness, an anchor. Someone needed to see him enter that building. Maybe if he reset again, the world would retain some trace of him. Or maybe police involvement itself was the key to breaking the loop. The officer on duty, Sergeant Zhang, frowned at the drenched, ghostly pale, yet feverishly intense young delivery guy. Limo spoke rapidly, his story fragmented. The bizarre 400 for order and the time loop. 12 different deaths. The 13th attempt. Planting the camera. Capturing the dragging sounds. Dripping. Whimpers. Marbles. The raspy threat. Curiosity will kill the delivery rat. He pulled out the burner phone and played the terrifying audio. Only recording. Sergeant Zhang Experian initially thought the kid was feverish from the rain or high, but when that audio played, the dragging friction, the viscous dripping, the muffled, despairing whimper, the eerie marble rolls, and that inhuman, menacing rasp, Zhang's face hardened instantly. That whimper and dripping sound screamed of something very, very bad. This was no prank. You sure? Time-worn apartments, 404. Zhang's voice turned serious. He signaled Officer Chen beside him to take notes and grabbed his radio. That place, 404, has been vacant for years. Records show it's empty. Empty. Limo felt struck by lightning. Impossible. I saw the door open. Heard sounds. Got this recording? Chen? Check the resident info and recent status for Time-worn 404. Now, Zhang ordered sharply, grabbing his jacket and sidearm. Li, you're coming with us. To the scene. Now, stay behind us. Don't touch anything. Sirens wailed through the rainy night. Limo sat in the back seat, watching the rain, blurred scenery streak past, his heart still pounding. Had he succeeded? Did the police believe him? Would their involvement break the loop? Soon, the cruiser stopped again in front of the tomb, like time-worn apartments. The rain seemed heavier. The building was mostly dark, only one or two windows showing faint, flickering light. Zhang and Chen drew their weapons, tense and focused. Zhang motioned for Limo to stay close. They entered the unit door cautiously. The hallway was still dead silent, cold, reeking of mold. The blood scent seemed stronger. They moved quietly up the creaking stairs to the 4th floor. The lights stayed off. Room 404's door was shut tight. Zhang signaled Chen to watch the flank. He took a deep breath, shone a powerful flashlight beam at the peephole, then banged on the door. Police! Open up! Routine inspection. No response. Deafening silence. Even the faint marble sounds were gone. Zhang knocked again, harder. He tried the doorknob, locked solid. Chen, call the property manager. Get the master key for 404. Now, Zhang commanded, brow furrowed. He leaned close to the door, Kraken sniffed, his expression darkening. He whispered to Limo, blood, fresh, and disinfectant. Limo's heart leapt into his throat. Fresh blood. Disinfectant. Was the person who whimpered? Just then, Chen pointed down the stairs, voice tinged with shock. Sergeant, look, the camera. In a dusty corner, an old, seemingly defunct security camera blinked with a faint, eerie red light. It was pointed directly at the 404 doorway. Zhang immediately barked at the camera. You inside? Police! You're surrounded. Open this door now and cooperate. The camera gave no response, the red light stubbornly glowing in the dark. Time crawled. The wait for the key felt eternal. The oppressive atmosphere and thick blood smell were suffocating. Limo's nerves were frayed. He stared at the door, convinced something monstrous would burst through. Suddenly, click. A distinct, metallic sound. The lock disengaging from inside. The door to 404 began to open. Slowly, silently, swinging inwards. Zhang and Chen instantly raised their weapons, barrels aimed at the widening gap. Limo recoiled in terror. Only thick darkness lay beyond the opening gap. No hand. Just a stronger wave of that sickening cocktail of blood and disinfectant. Then, a cold, utterly emotionless electronic voice emanated from the darkness, echoing clearly in the dead hallway. Loop, error sample, contamination, purge, protocol, initiating. What the hell is that? Zhang yelled, trying to shine his flashlight beam into the gap. Just as the light beam was about to pierce the darkness, skreek, an ear splitting, skull, rending high, frequency shriek erupted from inside the room. Simultaneously, the red-lit camera down the hall sparked violently and went dark. ACN and Limo both cried out, clapping hands over their ears in agony. Zhang was also stunned, blinded by the noise. His flashlight clattered to the floor, rolling, its beam flickering erratically across the ceiling. The shriek lasted less than 2 seconds before cutting off abruptly, as Zhang, fighting tinnitus and dizziness, retrieved his flashlight and aimed it back at 404. The door was shut, sealed tight, as if it had never opened. The hallway held only their ragged breathing and dust motes dancing in the flashlight beam. The overwhelming stench of blood and disinfectant seemed to lessen with the door closed. "Sergeant, what? What was that?" Chen stammered, face ashen. Zhang's expression was grim. He didn't answer. He tried the doorknob again. Still locked. He grabbed his radio. "Dispatch. Time Warren Apartments 404 situation. Critical. Requesting tech support. Breaching tools. Now. And contact SWAT. Possible. Non-conventional threat." He glanced at Limo, pale and frozen beside him, his expression complex. This delivery guy was probably telling the truth. And this was far more bizarre and dangerous than he'd imagined. Limo leaned against the cold wall, body trembling with fear and aftershock. Purge protocol initiating. Sample contamination. Was that him? That electronic voice? Was it the thing inside? Or some kind of machine? The police came. The door opened and shut. That noise? Was the loop broken? Or was this the start of a new, more terrifying cycle? Just then, the property manager finally arrived, panting, holding the master key. Zhang snatched it without hesitation, jammed it into the lock, and turned it hard. Click! The lock opened. Zhang and Chen exchanged a look, took a deep breath, and shoved the door open with all their strength. The powerful flashlight beam stabbed into the room's pitch black interior. The beam first hits the floor just inside the doorway. No delivery bag. The floor was clean, or rather, it looked like old wood scrubbed and sanded raw, unnervingly bleached and smooth. The beam slowly lifted, illuminating the wall of the small entryway. The wall was covered, densely plastered, with delivery order receipts, layer upon layer, almost wallpapering the entire surface. Every single one was for sweet and sour spare ribs, X1. Every delivery address, Time Warren Apartments, Unit 4, Room 404, and above all these receipts, centered and most prominent, drawn in thick red marker, was a large, twisted symbol resembling some kind of circuit board pattern. At its center was a stark, cold Arabic numeral, 13. Did Limo's 13th loop end? Or is this the start of a larger cycle? What secret lies within room 404?